Welcome back, guys, to the Roundtable. My name is Adam. With me once again, Rusmin.
Hello.
Victor.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And at this roundtable, we're going to talk about Alibaba and Charlie Munger. So the headline news, I think this has been around for the past few weeks, right?
Yeah.
Is that Charlie Munger has basically doubled down his stake in Alibaba, all right, or his daily journal investment. All right.
Yeah. So basically, all the Alibaba fans will be very happy that Charlie Munger also bought into this stock.
Yeah. So we're going to find out about why. Munger has decided to basically double up his stake in Alibaba.
Yeah.
What's the reason for that? And we're going to find out whether what does that mean for investors like you and me. All right. Or for you if you own the shares of Alibaba as well. But before we dive into that, let's just have a very quick background of Charlie Munger and who he is, because I think a lot of people know about Warren Buffett. He's the most famous investor, but I think some people know about Charlie Munger as well. He's the number 2 to Warren Buffett. But I think he has quite a bit of an influence on Buffett as well. Tell us more about him and his background.
Yeah, so I think Charlie Munger influenced Buffett in the way that, Buffett, initially when he started, he actually learned his investing style from Benjamin Graham, who is pretty much practicing on deep value stocks, basically those companies that are not high in terms of cash or asset value, and then they are trading at a fraction of the net worth itself. Okay, so those are the typical, the cigar butt that you pick up on the street, and then there's still some puff left. It pick it up and smoke.
I've never done that. But.
Yeah, but basically there's an analogy of that, right? So Buffett actually was very successful in the early careers of his investing careers doing this kind of deep value style, right? So along the years, as he met Charlie Munger, to cut a long story short, basically Munger actually shaped his thinking in a way that getting Buffett from pure value stocks into a growth stock, or rather quality stocks, right? So in fact, Warren Buffett actually said himself, right? Charlie showed me in the direction of not just buying the bargains, as what Ben Graham has taught me, and this was the real impact Charlie had on me. Okay, it took a powerful force to move me on from Graham limiting views, and it was such a powerful of Charlie minds, right? So he actually expanded Warren Buffett horizon in a way.
So what you're saying that in the past, Buffett used to be like a pure value investor,
and that has done very well for him, right? And basically Munger decided to basically help him to change that mindset, and Buffett was open for that. And
Buffett, his record shows that he's arguably the best investor of all time since that point in time. I think this is encapsulated. I think his philosophy since meeting Munger is encapsulated in this quote, which is, it's far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price.
So we see this quotes everywhere, but it's actually come from
it was actually because of Munger.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's who Charlie Munger is. He has a big influence on Warren Buffett himself. So I think we've got a little bit about that, but can you kind of break down what kind of what's Munger's investment style and philosophy?
Well, I think he operates in the multi-mental model approach. So he actually is a very smart guy, right? I mean, he brings subject, be it psychology, physics, or mathematics, or even sometimes some of the different subjects, and bringing them together to solve issue, to look at things holistically, rather than just a man with a hammer will see everything as a nail. And this guy have multiple tools to help him to make decision which one is the best for that problem.
He uses all of that for investing.
Yeah, so it's I would say that his process is very complicated. So I think it's not like easy for layman people like me, to actually follow his multi-mental model approach. Because if you want to follow him, you need to read a lot extensively, not just in investing stock. Human behavior. Yeah.
Okay.
So and one of the things that I think he loves is basically one of these quotes that also one of my favorite is that all I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there. Okay, so basically,
and he's pretty old, right?
He's pretty old.
How old is he now?
97.
97. He's making that work. So he's like, he's gonna die there. He's never been there.
Yeah. Right. So basically, what he's saying is that if that investment is gonna make you lose money, don't invest in them. Right. Okay. So look at all those bunch of companies that have failed before, and then learn from them, and then don't invest in them.
Okay.
I think the way he's learning is because a lot of people, like what Rusmin said, this invert code, right? It means that invert always invert. That's what he always said. It means that basically, for instance, a lot of people, they like to look at companies. They always see how this company becomes successful, but they don't look at those companies that fail. For Munger's, right, he go look at those companies that have failed, right, and what they did that caused them to fail. right? Then he make sure that all those companies invest, right, don't do the same thing. That's all. Then the company won't fail, right?
Okay. So basically, every investment that he made typically follow this quote. Those investment that he put his money in is almost like a no-brainer for him to make money. Yeah, because the risk is almost negligible, right? And this guy has a very high concentrated portfolio. So the way he invests, apart from it, of course, he look at those quality businesses that have a strong competitive advantage, the moats that the business has. It's very difficult to build. So he has actually built a portfolio of, I think, maybe the three substantial one that we all know is one of it is Berkshire Hathaway, which is currently his also the chairman of the company, which is the partner of Warren Buffett, right?
Yep.
And then the other one is his investment in Costco, right, which is the wholesaler in US, very popular, for you to buy.
I love Costco.
Yeah, I love Costco as well, right? Although I've never been there before.
I've been there, yeah. It's amazing, like the amount of stuff that you can buy.
Yeah.
It's big and so cheap. And
I wish I could be there, but when I was
you
there,
gotta go Costco once in your life. Yeah,
it requires a membership to go in, basically.
I had someone to bring me in.
Yeah. And then the other investment that he has is with his stake in Himalaya Capital, Li Lu, which is one of his fund managers, so-called. Of course, he actually mentored Li Lu, and Li Lu is one of those guys that invest extensively in China, and he understands China market very well. So, and Charlie Munger loves China, right? So he actually invests through Li Lu for his investment in China.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So these three are his part of his net worth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So basically, these three is his personal portfolio.
Okay.
Yes.
So whatever you heard about the doubling down, that one is based on the company that he's managing, which is Daily Journal.
Okay.
Right. Which is, of course, he have a significant influence over the company. Right.
Yeah.
So Daily Journal, I understand, is actually a newspaper business.
Yes, correct.
And it's actually still running today.
Yes, correct.
But he managed to basically turn newspapers, as we know, they're not doing the best place right now.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
But Daily Journal has a very high-performing stock portfolio. And that's because of Charlie Munger as a chairman.
Yes, correct. Because if you look at Daily Journal, in the early years, they are in the newspaper business. So what Charlie Munger do is he realized that all this business at the time when he bought, right, was very high free cash flow generative. So he took a lot of the free cash flow, right, and bought into a lot of investment. And all these investment that he bought inside Daily Journals are all concentrated investment.
Yeah.
And when the disruption came, the newspaper business went down, but the investment portfolio actually hold up the whole Daily Journal business, right? And of course, they also invest in a new type of business which pivot off the original business, which is the courthouse business, sort of like a case management software business, which, like Charlie Munger talked during the Daily Journal 2021 AGM, that this business, a lot of people don't want to be in, right? Because to do this business, right, is very tedious and there's a lot of work. So that's precisely why they want to be in, right? They go in, they do a lot of the work, they do it in a software, and eventually you create a recurring for them and a huge moat for them. And these are the investment in the courthouse business actually hold Daily Journal very well. They didn't tank like the other newspaper business where they actually went down, like your Singapore Press Holding, right? The business didn't pivot very fast, eventually it went down.
I mean, they did try. They went into property and all that, but I guess it was a
little bit too slow.
A little bit too late, I guess. So I think let's pick it up on Daily Journal. So Daily Journal is actually the entity that actually bought Alibaba, all these Alibaba shares. So I think let's dive into why did I think we all know, okay, Charlie Munger is kind of like a way of investing in stocks. He doesn't really lay out his process. He's never done that before, right? Because like you said, it's very complicated. He's private about it.
You can read about his book.
So this is Poor Charlie's Almanac. Yeah, so we have that in our office, and it's for people who can just come and have a look at all that stuff.
So he did share a lot of good stuff inside. It's just that too much stuff that you should go and read it.
Okay. So we don't really have his process per se, but we kind of know what kind of companies he likes, and through the portfolio that you see in Daily Journal, his personal portfolio like Costco and all that, we kind of know what kind of company he likes.
Yes.
So why did Charlie Munger pick a company like Alibaba, or why did Daily Journal buy a company like Alibaba?
Well, I think he didn't publicly state why he bought Alibaba per se, but from the past many interviews that I have seen Charlie Munger talk about, especially when it comes to China, he's very bullish on China. and he admire CCP, although a lot of people don't really like, but he admire this bunch of communist group people that come together and build a system that works for the country, right? It's not that he want to live there, but he liked those.
He agrees with the way that China is being run.
Yeah, because he said that no one has ever done it before, lifting the whole poverty of the whole nation of China in one single generation.
At that scale, right?
At that kind of scale.
Because I think Singapore has done it, but it's just Singapore.
Yeah, small scale.
Singapore is more. China is a big scale of
China is probably the biggest. I mean, it is the biggest.
Yes.
So they've done it in one generation.
Yeah. So in a way, Charlie Munger actually admires CCP, like what he might admire Lee Kuan Yew, right? So so I think one of the reasons that I could guess, I mean, unless I have a phone number that can call Charlie Munger, I don't know why he bought Alibaba, but what I could assume is that he actually like Alibaba in a way that is a good proxy to Chinese economy, right? So when it comes to Alibaba actually a lot of people who shop on the platform like Taobao or even Lazada, which is Asian, but rather the Taobao itself and the Tmall are the two biggest platforms in China when it comes to e-commerce, right? So they have gross merchandise value of close to 7 trillions.
Okay.
Right.
Is that in USD or?
Is in renminbi. Right. So they are the largest actually, and this has been growing at a double-digit pace over the last 5 years to 10 years. Okay. So you're talking about 20-30% kind of growth rate. So I would believe that Alibaba is one of those proxy that he will see as a proxy to China economic growth over the long run.
All right.
Yeah.
So I mean, how many? I mean, I think people want to know as well. I mean, he doubled up his stake. But how many shares did he buy? And what's his average price? What?
So he actually bought he first bought the shares, I think, around April 2021. Okay. So that's about 165,320 shares. Then the second buy was the recent one, which he bought about 136,740 shares. It's 740,000 shares. So that's about an increase of 83% in terms of the share. Right.
So in terms of average price, I think no one really knows what is the exact cost price, because the moment when the regional released their 13F report, usually is late, and at the same time the value that they give it to you is based on market value. So you don't know what is the cost price, right? So but based on the average price of their first tranche in the first half of 2021, people actually kind of estimate it's about $246 thereabout for US ADR. Right, so they actually bought the ADR shares over there. Then they almost double up this time round recently at an average price of around 191.
All right. So from an average price of 191 to $260 US.
That was the range based on the average trading price of the Alibaba.
So but I got one from the Market Watch, which they put the first. Roughly, they have a graphic. Right.
It's an estimate.
The first Alibaba stake disclosed around about 226 like that. Then the second stake is around about slightly above 150.
All right.
So the average is just in between 226 to 150.
But we don't know what is the actual cost price. But we are safe to say that I think his average price is probably in between 180 to 240 thereabout.
All right. And he basically had 165,000 shares, and then he bought another 136,000 shares. Recently, because of the regulatory crackdowns, everyone was kind of like, hey, what's happening in China and all that. He was actually like, hey, I think I still believe in the long-term growth story of China. And he went in.
I think a lot of people are afraid of China is because of the government intervention. Right. It's sort of like no free speech, no freedom. The government always control you and all this. Right. But there's this during the Daily Journal 2021 AGM, if you can read the transcript, right, there's this question 26 that someone asked about the Chinese economy. And Charlie Munger actually said this, the Chinese have proved that they don't need free speech to be a wonderful economy, right? He said that the Chinese government just copied everything about Adam Smith and left out the free speech, right? And it worked fine for them, right? And he further explained that, right, if China were to copy everything, including the free speech, right, China won't be at this
where it is today.
Yes, correct. Because he's saying that the civilization between the Chinese or the Caucasian is totally very different, right? It requires some maybe countries require some control. It's same for Singapore. When Singapore Lee Kuan Yew there's also some control in it.
Quite a bit of control, actually.
But slowly, it's like we control, sort of like you have freedom, but sort of you don't have freedom, that kind of, in between the
There
line.
are some like OB markers that you do not cross.
Yes, correct.
You don't cross there. Everything else free to do whatever you want.
I think that's how the Asian usually works, right? How Asian parents usually teach their kids and all this. So it's the same thing, I think. So he was saying that the Chinese system, right? This system worked very well for them.
Okay.
Right? So I think that's probably one of the reason maybe that he may not be afraid of because a lot of people are afraid of the intervention. So he don't afraid of it. That's why he doubled down.
Obviously, as far as we all know that Charlie Munger or Lady General actually bought more stake in Alibaba, you also need to know that whether your investment style is similar to them, because according to Charlie Munger, or rather his style is usually long term, right? And he buy and he keep it for really long term, right? And he has this saying which I love it as well. The first rule of compounding is never interrupt it unnecessarily, right? So basically he doesn't sell and let it compound. That's why his investment stake in Berkshire Hathaway, Costco, right, has actually compound until today, right?
Yeah, a lot of these daily journal stakes also he holds to date, all the banks that he holds.
And even though he owns, or rather Daily Journal owns the Alibaba, right? That Daily Journal itself, the portfolio is about 220 over million in terms of value, market value.
If you compare, or billion?
Millions,
right?
So if you compare with Charlie Munger's net worth, which is about close to 2 billions, I think that is only like less than 10% of his portfolio. And out of this 10% portfolio, he has five investment, right? Not just Alibaba alone. Although Alibaba is highly concentrated in the Daily Journal portfolio, they also have other investment like Bank of America, Postco, Wells Fargo's, and etc.
Okay. So I think Munger is unique in the sense it's one of the few, I guess, public voices in the Western world to actually be kind of very supportive of the way the CCP is running the country, and of course the economic growth story of China and all that, because he's publicly said that he likes the way it's being done.
I think this is the only guy that had made very little mistake in investing. I've never heard him make mistake in investment, because every investment that he chooses, he is very careful before he put his capital in it. Right. So Ba is one of those companies that I'm not sure whether it's his decision, but he definitely have an influence over it.
So we shall see about that. I mean, Alibaba, we are investors ourselves, so please, there's no recommendation to buy or sell anything. But I think what people want to know right now is that, especially if they're already shareholders of Alibaba, is so what does this mean? Is it I mean, it sounds like a really good thing that Charlie Munger basically, or Daily Journal, doubled up their investment in Alibaba. So what do you think?
It's a vote of confidence.
It was a vote of confidence.
The confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias is something that we want to hear and all that. But any risk about this as well? You know, hearing that the big boys, Charlie Munger has bought so much Alibaba.
I think Alibaba is one of those companies that's too big to fail, but at the end of the day, anything can go wrong, right? So there are risks, regulatory risks that is going to last for the next few years. So we don't know when this is going to end. So this is something that you need to bear in mind. But I think the price has probably priced in most of this negativity, right? So the valuation is actually very attractive. But on your portfolio level, you need to manage those risks by diversifying the stocks.
I think you still have to size your portfolio equally. I mean, if Alibaba is just the same percentage as your any other stocks, if it does not do well, it does not hurt you that much, right? Right. So the sizing of the position is still very important.
I read this comment recently on one of our videos that basically someone invested a lot of money in a stock, and I think it dropped 70%. So if you own one stock and it drops 70%, that's really painful. But if you hold 10 positions and one stock drops 70%, you lose 7%. Which is manageable.
But if that is your 100%, then that's going to be
it's very painful. So I think this goes back to the point that we do have to diversify somewhat, still to a certain point. And of course, whether your risk profile matches Charlie Munger in his time horizon as well, because Charlie Munger has a very long time horizon. Do you have the same time horizon when it comes to your investments in Alibaba as well?
And also Charlie Munger personally, he owns 3 stocks, right? Costco, Berkshire Hathaway, and also the Himalaya Capital. But if you think about it, right, those 3 stocks, right, he got influence over that 3 companies, right? Even though the Himalaya Capital was a private company, but he's, I think, sitting on the board of it also. Costco, he's also sitting on the board. And also the
Berkshire.
I don't think it's wise to mimic his diversification style. Right? He's highly concentrated. He knows what he's doing. Unless you are at the level of Charlie Munger.
Even he makes a mistake, he can immediately rectify it.
He has control. Because as a retail investor, you don't have that sort of control at all.
So don't even as much as we talk about Alibaba and all this, I think one people we may not know the exact inside, right? So I don't think investors should because I hear a lot of investors is Baba keep dropping, I just double down without really looking at the position sizing of your portfolio, and that's going to hurt you if your thesis go wrong. So never do that.
Okay.
Right?
All right. So I think just to summarize, I think we believe that Alibaba over the long term is still a great company, and Charlie Munger thinks the same as well. Yeah, and Daily Journal, So I think if just want to bring this up because I think this is one of the biggest names in the investment world. I think second only to Warren Buffett himself. And for him to basically double his stake in Alibaba is actually a huge thing. And I think you kind of know what his average prices are as well. So you kind of know what the value he assigns to this company.
I saw some people were like, my average prices is lower than Charlie
Munger. So I should be doing better, right? So once again, I think we just wanted to share that with you, especially if you're a shareholder of Alibaba as well. Okay, so I think this is a pretty good wrap up of this roundtable. So once again, my name is Adam. This is Roseman. Victor. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you like this roundtable, please hit the like button. Any questions or comments about Alibaba, Charlie Munger, please put them in the comment section. We'll have a conversation with you. And of course, subscribe to our channel. Many more roundtables coming up again, and we'll see you around.